Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Racha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers that's out here risking our lives. And always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai's feet when you read the scriptures. This video is kind of a reaction to Elder Atazawan video about naturalized citizens, because what he probably doesn't know is that I fall into that category. I'm a naturalized citizen. I just became a citizen in February of this year. Isaiah 10:1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. So, just to give y'all myself as an example, just like he said in the video, you know, naturalized citizens are people that actually went, hold on, this is going to annoy me, that went through the proper channels. I have friends that reposted the picture that I post on Instagram that said that those pictures were hearted by hardcore Republicans, or the picture was hearted by hardcore Republicans because for some reason Republicans love when somebody actually does it the so-called right way. I've been in this country since 1980. Like literally, you watch the beginning of Scarface, or the Perez family, well, really the whole Perez family's kind of, actually what's funny is Scarface and Perez family both kind of hint that crime spiked in Miami when Cubans got to America during my boat lift in 1980. I mean, I was 7 months. I couldn't be part of it, but not that I would want to, but I couldn't have possibly been part of a damn crime wave when I was 7 months when it happened. But the idea that I went through spending literally thousands of dollars and can be deported, you know, I'm not gonna worry about it because, you know, Lord willing, I'm a man of the Lord. And Lord willing, either it doesn't affect me because, you know, just like Elder Atazwam said, you know, the what a crime is seems to be a gray area in that situation. Now, I've never been convicted, but, you know, I don't know if, like he said, we don't know when dealing with crime. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of factors, right? My only so-called conviction was a guilty plea when I was 14 years old. You know, but in order for me to become a citizen, they did ask a question, how many times, you know, not how many times, but every arrest I had to be able to give an account of, or in other words, a court disposition. And what held up my progress was the court disposition for my most recent arrest about 13 years ago. But it was an arrest, it was not a conviction. My only, like I said, my only time convicted was about 31 years ago when I was a 14-year-old kid getting caught with stuff I shouldn't be caught with. You know, CDS. But I was 14. You know, just trying to hustle up money for clothes. I was the bum. I was a broke kid. So you can understand, you know, being ridiculed and picked on for being the broke kid. Being the only kid around that didn't have brand names. How appealing that was at the time. I'm not saying it would ever be acceptable. Right, but that's what happened, you know, and a lesson I had to learn. But will that juvenile charge, through the law changing, maybe be enough to deport me? And how bad is the deportation? I mean, I'm sure it's bad because I've built my whole life here in America. All I know is the United States. I was here since I was 7 months old. But it could be worse because shit, you go back into the scriptures, anytime there was no deportations, you don't read about deportations more than you read killings. You know, you read, hey, they put you to death when they don't want you. Here, they just deport you. Well, I could probably build a little life in Cuba until this thing, you know, until the Lord willing, the salvation or the condemnation. You know, Lord willing, it's a salvation. But just like the scriptures say, to what end is it for you? I'm not going to just assume that I'm saved. You know, I'm doing everything I can, you know, doing the works, trying to fix my spirit, and anything that I've saw wrong in my spirit, try to fix and change. You know, but yeah, Elder Atazwam is absolutely correct. You know, we are in that time where shit. I mean, and Cubans, one thing I've said in videos before, Cubans, it's very difficult to get Cubans to vote Democrat for two reasons. Number one, JFK with the Bay of Pigs. He told Cubans, hey, we'll support you with military or whatever, the same shit they do for Ukraine, right? We'll help you out. Next thing you know, all them Cubans show up at the beaches of Cuba to fight and get their cousins and brothers and mothers and family members out. And they get slaughtered by the Cuban military. These are regular fucking American workers. These are regular Cubans, but they've built a life in America. They're not soldiers. Some of them may be ex-military, but for the most part, you're not dealing with guys that are active military people. So they said that beach looked like a whole bunch of slaughtered pigs. Hence the Bay of Pigs. And then also you have Cubans already, because it's a bipartisan system, they have to pick pretty much Republican or Democrat. Because everybody and their mother knows you vote anything that's not Republican, Democrat, they're not going to win shit no way. So besides that, because Cubans are listening to the Republicans, and truth be told, Democrats really do sound like fucking communists. What they say, Democrats, doctrine of the people is what the word Democrats means. Communists basically means, you know, they look out for the community. So in other words, we get a lot of so-called free services from the government. We just don't get anything extra. You don't have the ability to, you know, unless you finagle something, you get a certain amount of pounds of rice based on the size of your family. It's a total, pretty much a welfare state. That's pretty much what it is. You know, you stand in line for your soap, your rice, and if you and if you save up your money, you can maybe order some delicacies, which unfortunately would include like probably shrimps and steaks. For the most part, you eating pork and chicken. And because, you know, in Cuba, you know, they don't know the truth, they're going to be perfectly fine with eating pork and chicken and beans and shit. You know, we have our struggle meals too. We have our own version of soul food in Cuba. And really, it ain't just Cuba. Puerto Rico has similar, you know, even though the situation's different, you know, but yeah, we suffer over there. You know, we go without, you know, and What if the Lord has it where I get deported? You know, y'all will never see me again on YouTube probably, because I don't think ain't no damn internet, period. And if it is, it damn sure ain't going to be internet that's going to be broadcast over here. You know? So, yeah, that just to show y'all how close to home it hits, those of y'all that know of me or know me, those of you that have broken bread with me, yeah, that's going to affect, or that can affect me. You know, because what if he says, hey, you know what? Let's go back to the old days. You an adult by 13, right? Well, the one crime I have been convicted for in my life, I committed at 14. So, yeah, that could totally affect me. But, you know, we pray, we watch, you know, we do the work. And if I go to Cuba, you know, they send me back to Cuba, it just is what it is. I'm going to have to be there teaching the word. If you don't see me, you know, if you don't see me, it's because there's no goddamn internet. There's probably no smartphones. They don't got no fucking new cars. I'm driving a newer car than probably every single Cuban in Cuba. They don't have no new cars. They perfected those old cars. They you know, as best as they can. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize, you know, being raised in America, you're spoiled. Things ain't gonna be so easy if I get deported to Cuba, especially I'm a 45-year-old man. You know, it's different if they would have deported me, say I was 20, 25 years old, you know? But yeah, that's the unrighteous decree. And now how unrighteous is it? Because at least I'll, you know, at least legally have my life. They ain't gonna kill me for being an immigrant. You know, but it's funny. It's funny how illegal immigration, they only go after the black and Latino people. They don't go after the Edomites. You think that the only people that sneak in are us? No, these other nations have illegal immigration too. I mean, not as bad because they're not as close. It's not as easy to come here from Poland and fucking be part of it and, you know, do shit. You know, but it is what it is. You know, we're almost out of here anyway. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.